Imagine an arrow soaring through the air, finding its mark with unerring precision. This is the art and science of archery, a skill as ancient as human civilization itself. But behind every successful shot, there's more than just a steady hand and a keen eye. The secret often lies in the arrow itself. The type of arrow you choose can drastically affect your archery performance. Indeed, the right arrow can make or break your archery experience. The flight of an arrow isn't magic, but science. When you release an arrow from the bow, it's not just a simple case of point and shoot. There's a whole symphony of physics at play. The first actor in this drama is the arrow's weight. A lighter arrow flies faster and is less affected by wind, but it also has less momentum, making it less stable and less effective at longer distances. On the other hand, a heavier arrow flies slower, but its greater momentum makes it more stable and more effective at longer distances. The arrow's stiffness or spine is another key player. This is essentially how flexible the arrow is. An arrow that's too stiff won't flex enough when it's released, and it will fly to the right. An arrow that's too flexible will flex too much, and it will fly to the left. Getting the spine just right means your arrow will flex just enough to fly straight and true. Now let's talk about aerodynamics. The shape and size of the arrow's fletchings, those little feathers or veins at the back, play a significant role in its flight. Larger fletchings stabilize the arrow more quickly, but they also create more drag, slowing the arrow down. Smaller fletchings create less drag, allowing the arrow to fly faster, but they take longer to stabilize the arrow. And then there's the air itself. An arrow doesn't just fly through empty space, it slices through air, a fluid that exerts pressure, creates drag, and can be unpredictably moved by wind. The best archers understand these forces and use them to their advantage. But the real magic happens when all these elements come together in harmony. When the weight, spine, and aerodynamics of an arrow are perfectly matched to the bow and the archer, the result is a flight that's as close to perfect as physics allows. Every arrow has its own story of flight, dictated by the bow that propels it and the air it slices through. From the ancient forest to the modern shooting ranges, arrows have evolved. They've grown and diversified, just like the hands that have crafted and loosed them. But the question remains, how do we choose from this vast arsenal? Well, let's delve into the world of arrows. First up, we have the traditional choice. The wooden arrow, the original, the classic, the one that started it all. Crafted from a variety of woods such as cedar, pine, or ash, these arrows carry the weight of history on their fletchings. They are reliable and economical, a favorite among traditional archers and history enthusiasts. However, they do require regular maintenance and can be less consistent in performance compared to modern materials. Enter the aluminum arrow, a product of the industrial age. Light, durable, and straight, aluminum arrows offer a consistent performance that's hard to beat. They're a popular choice for target archery, where precision and consistency are key. The downside? They can bend or dent if not handled with care. Next up, we have the carbon arrow. Born from the world of high technology, these arrows are light, fast, and incredibly durable. They hold their shape well, making them a favorite for competitive shooting and hunting. But this comes at a cost, as they tend to be more expensive than their wooden or aluminum counterparts. Then there's the composite arrow, a blend of aluminum and carbon. These arrows aim to bring together the best of both worlds, the lightness and speed of carbon, with the straightness and durability of aluminum. They're often used in high-stakes competitive shooting, where every millisecond and every millimeter counts. However, they're also the priciest of the bunch. So how do we choose among these arrows? It's not a question of which arrow is best, but rather, which arrow is best for you. If you're a history buff or a traditional archer, a wooden arrow might be your perfect match. If you're a target shooter looking for consistency, an aluminum arrow could be your go-to. If you're into competitive shooting or hunting and aren't afraid to invest a bit more, a carbon or composite arrow might be the right choice. Remember, each arrow type comes with its own set of pros and cons, and what works for one archer might not work for another. It's about finding the arrow that fits your bow, your style, and your goal. The right arrow, like the right tool, depends on the task at hand. It's a choice that can shape your archery journey, defining your shots and your experience, because in the end, archery, like life, is all about making the right choices. Choosing the right arrow is an art, blending science, personal style, and goals. It is a journey of discovery that can make the difference between an arrow that flies true and one that veers off course. So, how do you select the perfect arrow for your bow? The first step in this process is understanding your bow. Each bow, whether it's a traditional longbow, a compound bow, or a recurve, has its own unique characteristics that will affect the type of arrow it shoots best. The draw weight and draw length of your bow are particularly important factors to consider. Now, let's consider the archery style. Are you a target archer aiming for precision, a hunter stalking game, or a competitive shooter seeking to outscore your opponents? Your style of archery will greatly influence the type of arrow you need. Target archers, for instance, may prefer lighter arrows with smaller diameters that can fly at high speeds and offer less wind resistance. Hunters, on the other hand, might lean towards heavier arrows that can deliver more kinetic energy for a clean, ethical kill. Next, let's talk about arrow length. The length of your arrow needs to be compatible with your draw length. An arrow that's too short might fall off the rest, while one that's too long could affect your shooting accuracy. Arrow weight is another crucial factor to consider. Lighter arrows can fly faster but might be more susceptible to wind drift. Heavier arrows, while slower, can offer better penetration and stability in flight. The spine or stiffness of the arrow is another key aspect. The spine needs to match the draw weight of your bow. A mismatch here can result in poor arrow flight, often leading to errant shots. Finally, the selection of the arrow tip, or point, is equally important. Field points are great for target shooting, while broadheads are typically used for hunting. The right tip can significantly impact the arrow's flight characteristics and the damage it inflicts on the target. Remember, it's not just about picking the best arrow on the market. It's about finding the arrow that best suits your bow, your style of archery, and your goals. It might take some trial and error, but once you find that perfect match, you'll know it. The arrow will feel right in your hand, it will fly true from your bow, and it will hit the target just as you intended. So embark on this journey of discovery. Experiment with different types of arrows. Learn from each shot, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Archery is not just about hitting the target. It's about the journey, the learning, and the joy of seeing your arrow fly true. Your perfect arrow is out there, waiting to fly from your bow. In the world of archery, the right arrow can make all the difference. We've journeyed through the fascinating history of this ancient sport and revealed the science behind how an arrow takes flight. We've examined the diverse types of arrows, from the traditional wood to the modern composite, each with its unique characteristics and uses. Whether your passion is target shooting, hunting, or competitive archery, the key lies in finding the perfect match for your bow and purpose. We've also shared practical tips on how to choose your arrow based on factors such as length, weight, and spine compatibility. Remember, a well-matched arrow can enhance your shooting precision and overall archery experience. So the next time you draw your bow, remember it's not just about the aim, but the arrow that flies. The art of the arrow is a journey of discovery, and we hope this guide has set you on the right path.